Kia ora, and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer of the Week Drink Along. He's Joe.
And he's Luke.
This week, we're drinking a very, very special beer from Sierra Nevada and Mountain Culture. It's their Summer Pale Ale.
Yeah, it's a pretty massive collab, isn't it?
Yeah, just when you talk about dream collaborations, I think for any brewery, the idea of collaborating with Sierra Nevada, just absolutely, as they sound, the godfathers of craft beer. Dream come true. Cheers. And also to collaborate with Mountain Culture. So pretty new brewery, only been on the scene since 2020 in the Blue Mountains near Sydney, and have just exploded onto the scene, just winning awards left and right, doing ridiculously good beers. The beer came about from so Steve Grossman was the ambassador, is that?
Yeah, I think he's the founder's brother.
Yeah. So Ken Grossman famously is the founder of Sierra Nevada, and his brother's the ambassador, which sounds like a pretty bloody sweet job. I guess he just is like Duffman. He just travels around the world just representing Sierra Nevada. So he went to Gabs, met the guys at Mountain Culture, drank a bunch of their beers, and reported back to his brother on how great they are. And a collaboration was born, which is this Summer Pale Ale. If you don't know how important Sierra Nevada are, they are the pioneers of the modern craft beer movement. Back in the 70s and 80s, beer in America was terrible. You know, the old Monty Python jokes. It was all light lagers, adjunct lagers, just flavourless, fizzy, yellow light lagers without much going, just macro produced as a commodity to be drunk in bulk, manufactured in bulk. And then it was probably people like, Fritz Maytag at Anchor would have been an inspiration for Ken Grossman at Sierra Nevada, I imagine. And he started the brewery in 1980. So weird to think almost 45 years ago.
Such a long time.
Yeah. And many great breweries have come in they've trod the path forged by Sierra Nevada. And I suppose things that they really revolutionized and pioneered were hoppy beers. They invented things like the hop torpedo. They really were some of the early people in craft beer behind canning, which was really major. The homebrewers amongst you will probably know about US 05, which is also known as Chico yeast. So that's named after the Sierra Nevada Chico brewery. So US 05, the by far the most popular yeast that's used in all of the beers that you drink, any pale ale that you drink, IPA that you drink, it's generally US 05 or Chico yeast that was first pioneered at Sierra Nevada. It comes from their brewery. And their pale ale, which came out in 1980, first of all, is just ubiquitous, just with craft beer across the world, but especially in America. And that's what made Cascade popular. Yeah. People had never really tried that before, so it's sort of like it grew absolutely alongside the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
And you hear everyone, a lot of people in New Zealand talk about like Emerson's or Epic Pale Ale as their sort of gateway beer. And I think that that Cascade heavy Sierra Nevada Pale Ale was like craft beer's gateway craft beer.
Yeah, exactly. This is like Emerson's Bookbinder times 500,000.
Yeah. I remember first having those beers, and then eventually I was able to get my hands on that Sierra Nevada, and it's kind of like Pliny the Elder, right? Of just like it's what every beer since has sort of looked to emulate.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So cool for the guys over at Mountain Culture to get to sort of brew a pale ale with the pale ale brewers and sort of put their twist on it, because they're a brewery sort of very well known for hazy beer. Sort of came into beer at the height of the New England IPA movement and sort of quickly became probably Australia's best. And it's just such a cool collab because you can sort of taste both of their fingerprints all over it.
Well, it's nice. I do a lot of collaborations. We do with Small Gods, and I think when you collaborate with someone or with another company, brand, brewery, whoever it might be, you want both parties to bring stuff to it. So something like this is so cool because it's often it's good for the the young thrusters to work with the old stalwarts of the scene in the industry, and there's definitely stuff to be learned going in both directions. So yeah, as much as this has been a bit of a Sierra Nevada gush fest, it definitely goes both ways, and it's good for the old guys to learn from the young people as to what they're up to. This is a beer that it sold out really quickly. You managed to score a good amount for us to share with all you wonderful people.
Yeah, I was speaking with Mountain Culture back sort of September, even August, about an import, and got a bit of a heads up on this. They didn't say much about it, just that it was...
They teased it, didn't they?
They were just saying it's I don't know if they said the biggest ever, but they definitely were saying it's their biggest ever collab, a huge collab for Australia.
I think they were saying, yeah, we're collaborating with the most important brewery in craft beer.
Yeah,
and we're like, yeah, well, we'll probably buy that. We don't know what it's going to be, but we trust that it's going to be good.
And so on our web store, we have a couple of those mix packs that I put together from those guys, because I was able to time the import when they had 6 brand new seasonal 500 ml cans. So that was pretty exciting, and then getting this for the box. Right time, right place, I think.
Well, we've been chatting to Mountain Culture pretty much since they started, and it's always been like a good conversation, and they've always wanted to get beer to New Zealand, but especially in the first few years, they just simply haven't had any. They weren't able to get beer outside of New South Wales really to begin with, and their original brewery in Katoomba is, I think it's maybe like a 1,200 or 2,000 litre kit. It's quite a small kit, and in a couple of years later they opened a bigger brew house and scaled up, but still there's just so much demand that this was a time that they were actually, because we were just so organised with the beers coming out, we're able to allocate a couple of pallets to bring over to us here in New Zealand. But yeah, this beer in particular sold out on their website in 1 hour.
Yeah, crazy.
I can imagine some people drinking this that maybe don't know, well, maybe aren't pale ale fans, because this is not 1980. We're in 2024, and tastes have changed a bit, and people appreciate a beer like this a bit less. People like being whacked around by hazy IPAs these days. So I think obviously all of you classy people that are watching along are going to recognise how great this beer is. But yeah, I can imagine there might be some people that drink it and they just think it's nice enough, but they'd rather be drinking. And
I think there's a lot to be said for the sort of how excellent Mountain Culture are in every style that they brew. Their lager's phenomenal, their stouts are phenomenal. Obviously all the big sort of hazies are so highly rated everywhere. But yeah, their status quo, Pale Ale, was the top beer in Australia, sort of knocking Stone and Wood Pacific and Bolter XPA off its perch last year. And just going by sort of social media this year, it looks like they're staking a pretty big claim to be back-to-back as the Gab's hottest beer in Australia, which isn't such a big thing here, but it's a huge thing over there. Like, every brewery is, putting posts out, putting QR codes on their cans to go and vote for them. And sort of, I think everyone sort of just puts one beer forward and says, vote for this beer for us. So to win that award against the likes of Stone and Wood and Bolter is so big in your second year. It's pretty impressive, and it's just testament to just how well they brew.
And that's I think in a week or 2 weeks they're going to be announced in Australia. But
I think it's like last Saturday of January they do the countdown. I think it's a whole event over there.
But it links in with the Hot 100 on JJ or Triple J?
Triple J, the Music Hot 100.
So it's a huge thing. I'm sorry if you're Australian watching along, but for you New Zealanders that haven't heard of it, it's just like a really huge weekend in Australia, and everyone listens along to the Hot 100, and Gab's piggybacked on that with their Hot 100 beers. So a really smart idea. But for a brewery, that makes a brewery, because they get raised in all the independent bottle shops, all the chain bottle shops, and it just, the demand for the beer just goes through the roof. As I said, the Gabs 100 is happening in New Zealand. No one cares. I don't think it really makes much of a difference. Garage Project are weirdly trying to make their tiny number one. I guess they're big in Australia, so maybe they've got the same marketing person is also doing it, and they might win, but I don't. Maybe people will start caring about it. It
Yeah.
might start becoming a
I
thing in
think,
the
like,
supermarkets.
Bird's Eye and like Supercharger, they're the kind of beers that win here.
Yeah, but yeah, if I was a betting man, I would definitely be putting money on them winning it next week when that comes out. So about the beer, this is a very summery beer. As you can tell, we're both smashing it.
Yeah, it's a very hot day in the warehouse here, so we went 1 can each for once.
Yes, celebrating. Cascade, so big grapefruit, grass, pine, all those defining like California West Coast pale ale and IPA sort of hops. And as I was saying before, it really was Sierra Nevada that made and Cascade the defining hop of pale ales over the past 40 years in America. Also, and I've written down here, I'm reading it, so Citra Mosaic, Brew One, and Vic Secret. So Vic Secret famously is one of the best Australian hops. Ella, I'm also really partial to, but Vic Secret, loads of pineapple in there, also pine, but it's quite a pineapple-y beer.
It's very pineapple-y, and I think that use of Cascade just brings it, sort of rounds it out nicely. It's so drinkable because it's nice and sweet up front, and then you get that kind of grapefruit coming through.
Yeah, big grapefruit.
And then as soon as you've sort of finished tasting it, you want another sip because it's nice and light. I think it's like 5 point. I mean, the cans are right there, but
yeah, 5.6.
Yeah,
I want to drink a case of this.
yeah, great beer.
And Brew One that we actually just had to look up because I don't know that I've had beers with Brew One before, but that's very pineapple-y, hop, obviously citra, grapefruit, and mango mainly.
Yeah.
Big flavors. So getting that sort of sweet mosaic stone fruit. So it's this nice little like unfiltered, slightly hazy fruit salad punch bowl, but you've still got nice bitterness. It's mainly the grapefruit. It's got that bit of a long bitter finish. It's not a hazy pale ale, I wouldn't call it that, but it's sort of a modern summer pale ale.
And it's something I think we touched on in our advent calendar video of the working title Pilsner, where they use 5 different hops, and we kind of mentioned that can sometimes be a little of a red flag if you see that on a beer can. But obviously absolute mastery at play here. Sort of everything has its role.
Yeah.
You know, the pineapple coming from the Vic Secret and the Brew One, and I suppose that's a little nod to Australia's pineapple-y hop, and Brew One is an American hop.
Yeah, Washington.
And then sort of Cascade Citra Mosaic. That's such a classic combo for hazy.
Yeah,
beers
Citra
in
Mosaic is
general.
the combo. Definitely, yeah.
So yeah, just sort of everything giving its little or having its little part to play, and it just works so well, so balanced.
Yeah, the hops are not a shit mix. They've been chucked in there because they've been left over in the
No.
chiller. The hops
Yeah.
are very carefully selected, and they would have been actually selected so from the individual plots, because one hop is not yet one bag of Cascade is not like the next bag of Cascade. There's the good stuff and there's the other stuff.
The homebrew stuff.
Yeah, possibly. And the size of Sierra Nevada, they're so huge now that it's, I mean, they do grow some barley, they grow some hops on site, but it's a whole operation. It's so interesting just reading about sort of like the CO2 capture that they do, the just all these different initiatives and eco-friendly initiatives. Just the things that you're able to do when you're fucking massive and just have huge turnover and huge amounts of cash. You can really be great for the environment. So their major brewery, their main brewery in Chico, they have the largest, or one of the largest privately owned solar arrays that powers the brew house in America, which is probably quite a lot of solar arrays in America.
A lot of desert.
But yeah, but to think that this brewery has the biggest or one of the biggest ones, it's pretty incredible. It's just huge scale, and still independently owned. Still Ken Grossman doing cool stuff, being a legend.
Yeah.
I would recommend you read his book. I think it's called Beyond the Pale. I read it a few years ago. Something about pale in the title anyway. But yeah, really good read if you're into history, into brewing. If you're planning to start a brewery, lots of good tips from old mate Ken there. But thank you for joining us. Really glad that we could share this with you, this super special beer.
And if you want to try more mountain culture, I did order quite a lot. So
Yeah,
we've still
I'm
got
amazed
a few.
we've got boxes left.
Yeah, I ordered a lot more than we've done our last couple imports. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's still a few. So there's the mixed 12 pack, which contains like their core range, a couple 500 mil, and then there's the 6 pack with all those seasonals. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a great little selection of 18 beers to have in your fridge.
Heck yeah, get both. Get free shipping. Well, didn't you say there's only 5 left of one of them?
I think there's only 5 of the 6 pack left. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, of our 60 or 70 people watching,
You can fight it out.
yeah, you can fight it out to get this ordered. And it is sunny. It is summertime. Come visit us at the Fridge and Flagon. We're open Fridays and Saturdays from 12 o'clock till 8. We do some pretty nice food here, plenty of chips and hash sticks, but you can bring your own food. So get a packed lunch from one of the great local burger joints. There's a new incredible pizza joint that's just opened up. So
Yeah,
if
you'd
you're looking
have
for
to
a
be quick.
Friday lunch, yeah, what's it called? Rosalia's?
Yes, that is the name.
Yeah.
I think they do 80 slices from
Okay,
12.
yeah.
So go grab a couple slices,
All about
toddle
the hype.
down on Friday, yeah, have a couple beers.
Yeah.
Good times.
Good work, Sierra Nevada, unsurprisingly, and very good work, Mountain Culture. Cheers.
Also unsurprisingly.
See you next time.
Cheers.